The last patrol through Fallujah. The door didn't just open, it exploded inward. Sergeant Marcus Hale flinched as splinters and dust filled the air, his rifle already raised before his mind caught up. The room beyond was dark, choked with smoke and silence that felt wrong. Too quiet. "Clear left," someone shouted. "Right clear." Marcus stepped through the doorway, boots crunching over broken tile, every nerve alive. His finger rested tight on the trigger. His eyes scanned every corner, every shadow. Because in Fallujah, 2004, silence could kill you faster than gunfire. Just hours earlier, Marcus had been sitting on the back of a Humvee, watching the sun rise over a city that looked more like a battlefield than a place people lived. Operation Phantom Fury. They all knew the name. They all knew what it meant. This wasn't just another patrol. This was the fight. Private First Class Danny Ruiz sat beside him, adjusting his gear for the third time in 5 minutes. "You ever get used to this?" Ruiz asked. Marcus didn't answer right away. "No," he said finally. "You just learn to move anyway." Ruiz nodded, trying to swallow the fear that sat heavy in his chest. "I keep thinking," Ruiz hesitated. "What if I freeze?" Marcus looked at him. "Then I'll be right there to get you moving again." Now, inside the shattered building, those words were being tested. Room by room. Step by step. Fallujah wasn't like other places. The enemy didn't stand in lines. They hid. They waited. They watched. Every doorway was a question. Every hallway a gamble. Marcus raised his hand. "Stop." He crouched low, listening. There it was. A faint sound. Movement. Behind the next door. He turned to Ruiz. "Stack up." Ruiz moved into position, breathing hard but steadying himself. Marcus nodded once, then kicked the door. Gunfire erupted instantly. The room lit up with muzzle flashes. Marcus dropped to one knee, returning fire with controlled bursts. Ruiz hesitated, just for a second, then remembered, and moved. It was over in seconds. It always was. But those seconds felt like hours. When the room cleared, Marcus exhaled slowly. "Everyone good?" Nods. Quick checks. No one hit. This time, they moved deeper into the building. But the weight was growing. Because every fight like that, you knew the odds were shifting. By midday, the heat had risen, mixing with the smoke and dust until the air itself felt heavy. They paused in a partially collapsed room, catching their breath. Ruiz leaned against the wall, helmet tilted back. "I prayed this morning," he said suddenly. Marcus glanced at him. "Yeah." Ruiz nodded. Didn't even know what to say. "Just asked God to get me through the day." Marcus looked down at his rifle. "I used to pray like that," he said. "Used to." Marcus didn't answer right away. "Somewhere along the way I stopped," he admitted. Ruiz frowned. "Why?" Marcus shrugged slightly. Didn't think God had time for a place like this. Before Ruiz could respond, boom. The building shook violently. "Contact outside," someone yelled. They rushed to positions. Insurgents were moving through the street, fast, coordinated. This wasn't random. It was an ambush. Marcus leaned out, firing controlled bursts. Ruiz was beside him now. No hesitation this time. No freezing. Just action. But the fight intensified. Rounds snapped past them. Walls chipped away. The noise was overwhelming. Then Marcus saw it. Movement on the flank. Closer than it should have been. Too close. Ruiz down. Marcus lunged, shoving him aside just as gunfire tore through the space where Ruiz had been. Marcus hit the ground hard. Pain shot through his side. For a moment, everything slowed. He lay there, staring at the cracked ceiling, dust drifting down like ash. His breathing was shallow. His vision blurred. And in that moment, he remembered. Not the war. Not the fight. But a verse his grandfather used to say. "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." Marcus closed his eyes. Not in defeat, but in surrender. "I could use you right now," he whispered. The gunfire continued. The chaos didn't stop. But something inside him did. Calm. Not the absence of danger, but the presence of something stronger. "Sergeant, stay with me." Ruiz's voice cut through the noise. Marcus opened his eyes. "I'm here," he said, though his voice was weak. "Medic," Ruiz shouted. But even as help came, Marcus grabbed Ruiz's arm. "Hey," he said. "You didn't freeze." Ruiz shook his head, eyes wide. "You didn't let me." Marcus managed a faint smile. "Good. The fight was won that day. The building secured. The street cleared. Marcus was evacuated, wounded but alive. Weeks later, he sat in a military hospital, sunlight streaming through the window. The war still raged far away. But for him, there was quiet. Ruiz visited. "You saved me," Ruiz said. Marcus shook his head. "We saved each other." A pause. Then Ruiz asked, "You praying again?" Marcus looked out the window. "Yeah," he said softly. "Not because everything's okay, but because I know I'm not alone." Years later, Marcus would tell that story differently. Not as the day he was wounded, but as the day he remembered where his strength came from. Because sometimes, you don't find courage when the battle starts. You find it when you remember who walks with you through it. Commentary note: this story reflects the biblical truth of Psalm 23, that even in the darkest valleys, we are not alone. Marcus's journey shows that faith can be rediscovered in the hardest moments, and that courage is strengthened by trust in God. It also reflects American values of brotherhood, sacrifice, and standing firm under fire. Historical note: this story is a fictional narrative set during Operation Iraqi Freedom, specifically inspired by the Second Battle of Fallujah in 2004, Operation Phantom Fury, one of the most intense urban combat operations involving U.S. forces. The conditions described, house-to-house fighting, ambushes, and close-quarters combat, accurately reflect the realities faced by American service members during that battle. While the characters are fictional, the events and setting are grounded in historical reality.